Every single time the world thinks it's done being surprised by Lionel Messi, he does something like this. A 38-year-old man at a World Cup scoring a hat trick on his 200th appearance for his country 20 years to the exact day since his World Cup debut. And in doing so, equaling the all-time World Cup scoring record that people said would never be touched. Let that sit for a second. Not Ronaldo, not Mbappe, not Haaland, not any of the young lions the world has been building up for the last 4 years. The man standing on top of the mountain tonight, again, is the same man who has been standing on top of it for the last 2 decades. And here's the part that should terrify every single team left in this tournament. He didn't even need to be at his absolute best to do it.
Leo is just different. It's just a different topic.
Kansas City, June 2026. The defending World Cup champions walking into their opening game with the weight of history on their shoulders and the memory of 4 years ago still sitting somewhere uncomfortable in the back of their minds. Because 4 years ago, this exact squad started as the favorites, and they got stunned by Saudi Arabia on opening night in Qatar. A result so shocking, it felt like the tournament was already over before it had even started.
But here's what that loss actually did. It didn't break them, it forged them. They recovered, they fought, they scraped, they cried, they laughed, and then they won the whole thing. On the biggest stage in world football, in the greatest World Cup final ever played.
Roller coasters. I don't know how everyone at home feels, and equally the players, but you're right, when they lost their opening game, everyone kind of questioned them a little bit, but when you have the character that they do, when you have Messi.
So when Scaloni admitted after the Algeria game that the memory of that Saudi Arabia result had never truly gone anywhere, that the first game still gets to you no matter what you've won, it told you everything about the mentality this team carries into every single match. That's why beating Algeria 3-0 wasn't just 3 points, it was a statement. It was the defending champions passing their first emotional test of the tournament with something approaching total control. And it didn't even start cleanly. Argentina had a goal ruled out for offside in the opening minutes. Algeria hit right back and had one disallowed themselves. For a spell, Algeria looked genuinely brave. Chibi finding pockets between the lines, Haj Musa causing problems from wide. Quick combinations before Argentina's press could settle.
And then Argentina found their rhythm, and the game essentially ended as a contest from that moment on. The first goal arrived in the 17th minute, and it told you everything about why this team is still such a nightmare to play against. De Paul, Messi's personal connector, his midfield bodyguard, the man who has spent years learning exactly when and where to find him, spotted him in space 30 yards from goal. Messi took it, shifted his marker, drove forward, and curled a left-footed finish past Lucas Zidane into the top corner. No 12-pass move, no chaos, no individual brilliance forcing something from nothing. Just Argentina's oldest, simplest, most devastating trick. Give Messi one clean lane and watch the entire defense fold in 3 seconds. That was World Cup goal number 14 for Lionel Messi. By full time, it was 16. Because the second goal came when McAllister hit a strike too hot for Zidane to hold. The ball spilled, and Messi, who had already drifted into exactly the right position before the shot was even struck, was first to the rebound and finished right-footed without breaking stride.
Not isolated genius, a midfielder creating the panic, Messi arriving to close it out. That is a system working exactly as designed. And then, in the 76th minute, the bench spoke. Nico Gonzalez had come on, added directness down the left that Algeria simply hadn't had to deal with before, and ended a move that found Messi arriving at the edge of the box where he bent another left-footed finish into the corner with the kind of calm that makes you forget you're watching a 38-year-old man in the middle of a World Cup group stage match. Hat trick, his first ever at a World Cup, his 200th appearance for Argentina, 20 years to the day since he first walked onto a World Cup pitch as a teenager in 2006, and now level with Miroslav Klose's 16 World Cup goals, the most any human being has ever scored at this tournament. The headline writes itself, but here is where I need you to stop thinking about Messi for a moment, because the headline is not the story. The headline is the surface. The actual story, the story that should be keeping coaches up at night all over the world, is what is surrounding him.
Algeria had 7 attempts in this match. 7! And they were credited with exactly 0 shots on target. 0. Emiliano Martinez in the Argentina goal barely had to shift his weight. The work being done in front of him was that clean, that organized, that suffocating. This is not the Argentina of years past that used to ride chaos and emotion and individual brilliance to drag themselves through games. This is a team that has learned how to compress football matches, how to slow the game down to their tempo, how to push wide players into positions where they can't hurt you, how to make every opposition counterattack feel rushed and disconnected before it even
get started. Christian Romero was aggressive without ever letting the game open up into a transition battle. Lisandro Martinez gave them composure on the ball and bite when they needed it. Facundo Medina on his World Cup debut handled Algeria's width like a senior international who had done this 100 times before. He didn't need fireworks, his job was to be solid, and he was. And then the midfield. The midfield that people still don't talk about enough. DePaul bringing the vertical intensity, the driving runs, the precise forward balls into Messi's feet. Enzo Fernandez keeping everything circulating and ticking. McAllister linking the thirds and directly forcing the mistake that led to the second goal. 3 players, 3 completely different jobs, all executed in a way that made Argentina look inevitable from the moment they settled into their rhythm.
513 passes completed out of 572 attempted. 90% passing accuracy in a World Cup opener against a side that came with a proper defensive structure and a plan. That is not a team trying to win a football match. That is a team managing a tournament. And then the substitutions. 5 changes made by Scaloni, and not one of them disrupted the control, the shape, or the intent of the performance. Molina for Montiel, Alvarez for Lautaro, Nico Gonzalez for Almada, who then went and set up Messi's 3rd goal. Otamendi for Romero, Nico Paz for Messi himself in the 80th minute to close the game out. Every single one of those changes made sense, every single one of them maintained the structure. And the fact that Scaloni can make 5 changes to a World Cup performance and the team doesn't even wobble, that is the part that should frighten you most if you are anyone else in this competition. Tournaments are not won by your best 11. They are won by whether your whole squad holds up through heat, through fatigue, through injury, through the moments when the game turns against you and you need someone off the bench to change it. Argentina's bench passed that test that night. Now let me make a comparison that I think is genuinely important for understanding what we might be watching here.
In 2022, Messi was Argentina. Not just the best player, not just the most important. He was the emotional core, the creative reference point, the problem solver when games tightened and nothing else was working. Against Mexico, he broke the tension from 30 yards. Against the Netherlands, his pass to Molina cracked the game open. In the final against France, 2 goals and a performance that carried a match that turned from total control into one of the most chaotic finales in football history. That team had nerve. That team had chemistry. That team had something special and undeniable. But the ball had to find Messi too often before the attack felt alive. This version is different. Against Algeria, he finished the story. He didn't write every single page of it. DePaul set the table. McAllister created the panic. Nico Gonzalez changed the dynamic from the bench. Messi arrived and finished. And the team around him never needed rescuing. Enzo Fernandez and McAllister are leaders now, not prospects. Julian Alvarez is a seasoned tournament player, not a breakout kid hoping to impress. Almada started a World Cup opener. Medina made his debut and looked like he belonged. Nico Paz came on in the 80th minute of a World Cup game and looked completely at home. This team went into this tournament having won 5 straight matches, scoring 15 goals and conceding exactly 1. Copa America 2021 ended the drought. Qatar 2022 made them champions. Copa America 2024 proved the machine could run without Messi playing every single minute.
And now in 2026, this might be the most complete Argentine side ever assembled. Not the most emotional, not the most dramatic, the most complete. Which brings me to the question coming out of Kansas City that nobody seems to be asking loudly enough. If Argentina can produce a night like this, a historic hat trick, a clean sheet, total control of territory, free rotation off the bench, and an opponent limited to 0 shots on target while defending the World Cup they already hold, how exactly is anyone supposed to break them down once the knockout rounds begin? France have firepower. Brazil have brilliance. Argentina's trick is different. Argentina's trick is that they know how to remove the disorder from knockout football. Slow it down. Protect the middle. Wait. And then become even harder to play against once they go ahead. 3-0 against Algeria looks simple on paper. In context, it is one of the most controlled, most calculated, most quietly devastating opening performances this tournament has seen in years. The scary part is not the hat trick. The scary part is that the hat trick was the easy part. This is Argentina in 2026, and the rest of the world has a very serious problem.